I caught my girlfriend cheating with her best friend's groom at their wedding. I broke up with her and told the bride, spoiling their wedding and wanting revenge. I met my girlfriend 26F at a bar quiz. We shared a team since I didn't bring one. I liked her because of her knowledge. I always like trivia, so anyone who does it excites me. Conversation lead to dating. She quit teaching to build her internet profile while I'm getting a master's. I encouraged her to become a trivia-focused influencer since the internet needs more of those, especially women. May, her high school friend, was great. Outsiders fantasized about May's high school sweetheart Tom. 2 high school sweethearts. After college on separate coasts, they moved in. My girlfriend excitedly told me about Tom proposing to May and their wedding a few months ago. After meeting Tom and May several times, they're the nicest. Always wished them luck. I was happy for them when she told me. I've always admired the idea of early love, but everyone's story is different. We'll see that being high school. Sweethearts doesn't guarantee a flawless relationship. Yet nothing beats knowing someone so well until the end. As expected, we attended Tom and May's wedding. Indeed, it was amazing. I discovered that many of May's family were motorcycle club members, making it boisterous. She didn't share her extended family's pride. All were decent. Some were scary but friendly. Since I only knew them for a short time, I wasn't as emotionally involved as my girlfriend, but it still affected me because they seemed in love. Things went south when I initiated small talk with a guest who attended the couple and my girlfriend's high school. I tried to point out my girlfriend to him and saw her with the groom behind a wall with serious stares. The bride was talking to friends elsewhere. Finished. I wouldn't mind watching Tom and my girlfriend converse privately. That wasn't my issue. From where I was standing, Tom and May's wedding chat seemed too serious. I wanted to ask my girlfriend. After the night settled down and we returned to our hotel room, I asked her what they were talking about that appeared so serious on a day meant to be fun for everyone. She initially said nothing. The answer raised my doubts. I told her it couldn't be nothing, and she probably realized she had to say something to prove it wasn't a big deal. She said he was normal. Am I wrong? Due to their lengthy history, she eased his waiting anxiety. I left despite my many questions, such as why one groomsman wasn't giving a pep talk, and why they were having more of a back and forth than a motivational speech. I was skeptical when she always used a phone chat program. I suspected her since she looked serious while she used her phone. Cheating wasn't on my mind. She didn't seem to want to talk. Maybe Tom told her something confidential and she vowed not to tell anyone, but I checked her phone to be sure. Not my first time browsing her phone. I had 2 more strong suspicions she was hiding something, but I found nothing. You say a lack of trust prompts someone to check their partner's phone, but I think what she doesn't know won't affect her and lets me verify her truth. Before, she didn't lie to me, increasing my trust in her. This time was different. I read Tom messages on her phone after she went asleep. He was her main conversationalist that night. We received most wedding day messages after returning to the hotel. Can I visit? Was her message when I scrolled back to the morning. I emoji reply. After that, he agreed. Evening messages followed. Before reading the texts, I realized my girlfriend was going to the room where the females were getting makeup done by their traveling makeup artist. About when she messaged Tom. I quickly departed and joined her chats with May, who inquired about my partner. She replied softly that she was leaving. I was afraid to revisit the text with Tom, but I did, and their evening conversation was confusing. As long as you won't confess. Then we'll both be fine, my girlfriend said. Trust me, I'm not. I have a hell of a lot more to lose in this right now than you do. This is the worst possible timing. It was the only possible timing, Tom. Especially since we waited this long in the first place. We didn't wait for anything. You came to my room, and on the cusp of being married, there was something tempting about you being a reality. It was taboo, and that was the appeal, and I know I messed up. But you liked it, my girlfriend said, followed by a smile emoji. That's not the point. You can like something and know you shouldn't have done it. You sound like you have a conscience now, but you somehow didn't when I was naked in front of you. I messed up, yes. I liked it, yes. This will never happen again. I've crossed a boundary in my life where this kind of stuff is now unacceptable. And no, I'm not stupid enough to try and tell me. At least indulge me and tell me what you like the most. I've always fantasized about you, and this was like a dream come true for me. I just want to hear how good it was for you. Give me something to treasure if this can't happen again. And then Tom went into about 2 paragraphs on their sexual encounter, talking about what he liked the most about her body and the things she did. I didn't realize how my hand was shaking with rage until I could barely read the screen anymore. I don't know how, but somehow in the midst of the fury in my head, I captured as much of the incriminating chats as I could on my phone, and I left the hotel room. I remember walking around aimlessly that night, trying to put some kind of sense into my thoughts, but everything was an absolute jumble at that time. It was the level of emotional pain that actually hurts physically. I just wanted to curl up into a ball. However, somewhere in the midst of all that pain was relief. Because I knew that I was dating a cheater and I knew I could end things without the pain of divorce. Tom and May had just gotten married, and I couldn't imagine that my girlfriend and I's wedding would have been more than 2 years away. I could have ended up with a cheater and not known a single thing about it. Here's the thing. I know for a fact that I want to break up with her, but here's the part where I need help. May literally just got married to Tom. I don't know whether I should tell her what I know. It's definitely the right thing to do, morally speaking. But some people prefer blissful ignorance if it is the alternative to a truth that will hurt them irreparably. I don't know what kind of girl May is. I could choose to just break up with my girlfriend and let her know why, but never expose Tom. Or I could confront him and let him. No, I know, but is that really a punishment for him? Honestly, I'm confused. But I've been dating this girl for 4 years and I'm so hurt. I need to get back at her, without doing anything illegal as much as many illegal things have been appealing to me. I'm looking forward to what you can all suggest me to help out. Edit 1. A common comment is that I shouldn't be responsible or concern myself with what May does with the information I provide her. The argument is that I should do the right thing by telling her, and whether she hates me for it or not isn't my business as long as I did the morally upstanding thing. I think a bigger part of me agrees with that angle. I'm not trying to be a homewrecker, especially this early on in a marriage, but I think it might have to be the way that I go. Edit 2. There was one comment that said I should get in bed with May, seeing as it is the most equal form of revenge that I can exact. I was amused by that, and it seems like the commenter was joking. Hopefully, but I don't roll that way. Generally speaking, you can choose to cheat back if you know you can't leave the relationship for whatever reason, but there's really no great argument for why you should stay with a cheater if you have all the necessary circumstances to dump there at SS. That's what I'll be going for. Update. Hello friends, it is me and I am back. I am more than happy to be able to deliver this update so soon after the last post. I think it has been just about a month or so, but I'm very happy with how things have gone, and honestly I don't think that they could have gone any better than they have. Let me get into it. The first thing I did was to get rid of my girlfriend, now ex. Thank thee, heavens. When we traveled back home from the trip for the wedding, I told her that I wanted to talk to her. I made sure that we were both sitting down, and the first thing out of my mouth was, "I know that you slept with Tom." She went white and her eyes bulged. She started stuttering like she was trying to come up with something to defend herself with. But it was obvious that wasn't going to work for her. There was nothing that she could say, to be honest. She didn't know how I found out, but there was no point even attempting to deny it if I somehow knew. I told her that I was going to spend an hour in the living room, and that hour was all that I was going to give her to pack her things and arrange for someone to come and get her. After that, I was going to kick her out and call the police to do it if necessary, and anything that she left behind would get donated to Goodwill or thrown in the trash. I told her that her time started right then, but she sat on the couch, still looking at me, tears streaming down her eyes but with no sound. She managed to croak out a "Babe, I'm sorry." I didn't. Before she started to shake with sobs. I just shook my head and chuckled. She was still sitting in front of me. I reminded her that her time was ticking, and that was when she finally got up to leave. When the hour had passed, I let her know and she came out, dragging 2 suitcases behind her. Her friend, who she had called during that time, dragged out a third one. I assumed she had everything that was important to her because honestly, I wasn't joking when I said I'd donate or trash the rest of the stuff. I did not want any of it in my house. I didn't need to be reminded of her in any form. And I eventually did get rid of all of it because I forbid her from coming back after she stepped out the door. That was the last time that I saw her in person. There was a time when she came back and started knocking at my door begging to talk, but I never opened it, and she didn't come after that. I had broken up with her and I was more than happy. But that was only part of what I planned to do. The next thing that I did was call up May. If she lived closer, I would have wanted to go and talk to her in person, so she'd know how serious things were. But I wasn't going to commit to that extent. When she picked up the call, I made sure that Tom wasn't in the same place as her, and I did my best to prepare her that I had something extremely heavy to tell her. When she said, "Out with it already," I just let her hear it. I told her that my ex-girlfriend and her husband had slept with each other on the day of the wedding. I told her everything that I knew, such as I think that was the only time. But the only thing that I didn't mention were the graphic details that I had the misfortune to read. The other end of the line was silent for a very long time. I had to tell her that I was so unsure whether I made the right decision by telling her, or whether she would have preferred to not know. She only apologized and said that she was very glad that I told her. That's what she would always want. She seemed shocked that my ex-girlfriend, her friend of very many years, would hurt her like that. I felt for her. Because as bad as it was for me, it was definitely worse for her. This was her high school love and he had literally just become her husband. Anyway, she said she'd handle the situation and thanked me. About a week later, I knew that May had pulled the trigger since my ex-girlfriend called me, and for some reason I bothered to pick it up to hear what she had to say. She was angry at me for ruining their marriage. Apparently, she seemed to be in an altruistic mood as she claimed that it was fine that I broke up with her, but I didn't need to ruin a new marriage. She said I didn't even know the two of them like that, so I had no reason to interfere. May had chosen to end things right away. I just laughed and hung up on her. It was extremely amusing to me that she was trying to be morally upstanding in any capacity. The next thing I did was to expose her on social media. Instead of doing it myself, I hired someone for cheap to help me do the grunt work in her comments. I gave him the entire story, including the conversations, and he went to work on all of her social media pages. Apparently, she couldn't post a new video without the guy coming in with his accounts. When one was blocked, he'd switch to another. It started a lot of discourse among her fans until it got to the point where she simply had to disable comments on all her posts. About 2 weeks after this started, she simply stopped posting. It's been about 2 weeks now and she hasn't posted, which is strange because she would normally post close to 5 times a week. Something about that makes me happy. I know she might be trying to wait it out, but I'll be back for when she decides to try and bounce back. The internet never forgets. Now, here's the funniest part of the entire thing. When May told all of her relatives that the marriage was over, they were obviously extremely curious about why things ended, and she made it more than clear. Well, May is apparently quite a sweetheart, and a lot of aunts, uncles, and cousins adore her. Those biker relatives of hers? They went to cause quite a ruckus at Tom's house. According to May, they roughed him up quite a bit. However, the very best part for me is that they went to my ex-girlfriend's house too. I don't know how they got her address, but they did somehow. They didn't hurt her, but they certainly scared the crap out of her, and last I heard, she had left her sister's place and moved out of the state. I don't know whether that's temporary, but it is extremely funny that her cheating somehow made her run like a fugitive. So I broke up with her, made sure the cheating groom was caught by his wife, did my part in dismantling my ex's online career, kicked her out and tossed some of her stuff, got the EP beaten up just enough, and had my ex frightened to the point that she ran out of state. To me, that's as great as revenge can go, and I honestly feel a whole lot better. Being cheated on isn't fun, but it seems revenge is the right medicine for it, especially if you do it properly. Make sure it hurts, brothers and sisters. You'll feel better for it. Thank you to everyone for all the help and assistance along the way, and I'll be sure to return the favor to other posters who need help. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Fiancé admitted that he has a crush on his coworker after I confronted him about feeling neglected. I forgave him, but now I'm repulsed by his touch. So I ended our 4-year relationship. I, 35F, and fiancé, 43M. My fiancé is self-employed, but often works with people from other companies. He is currently finishing a job that lasted 5 months. On this job, he met a woman who worked with him on the project. I met her briefly, but I didn't think much of her. Anyway, about a month and a half ago, I decided to talk to him because I was feeling neglected lately. He broke down before I could even finish, apologized and admitted he had a crush on her. He said they had a lot in common, spent a lot of time together, and that she admired him, which flattered him. Due to his work, we didn't spend much time together and he felt lonely. So he started enjoying spending time with her. Nothing else happened, but he felt guilty and ashamed because of it. He told me he would work from home until the end of the project, which he had been doing, and would work on repairing our relationship. She texted him a few times asking if he planned to come back to the office, but he simply replied no. After, she tried initiating a conversation via text, but he didn't respond. Then, she texted that she missed working and talking with him in the office and asked if she had done something wrong. He replied that she didn't do anything wrong, however that he would prefer it if they'd keep their conversations strictly professional from now on. He willingly linked his phone to our iPad so I could see all of her texts. He begged me to let him fix this mess. I told him I needed some time to think about things, which scared him. I spoke to a couple of friends who convinced me to forgive him because he came clean and because having a crush is normal. We've been together for 4 years, and I've never had a crush on anyone else, no matter how attractive they were. I've been with my previous boyfriend for 10 years and I didn't have a crush during that time either. Nevertheless, I decided to give him another chance, because apparently it's not normal for me not to have a crush. He was very grateful for a second chance. He is romantic, attentive, kind, loving, honest. He has read a number of books on relationships and infidelity and is trying to understand what happened and why. The thing is, I know all the right things to say and do. I seem to be receptive to his advances, but none of it is real. I'm disgusted by his touches and kisses. My mind thinking up sardonic, sarcastic responses to everything he says and does. I don't say any of those mean things out loud, BTW. He repels me. And now I'm starting to feel attracted to other men, which in my case only happens when I mentally withdraw from the relationship. Is there a way to overcome this? Have you had any experience with this? Update 1. Since I continue to receive responses in this thread, I made another one. To keep things short, I ended the relationship. Love isn't enough to overcome distrust. Comments. Furk. In my experience, once I'm mentally checked out, there's no going back. No amount of promises, effort, or guilt can bring back trust. You need to be able to trust your partner from the depths of your soul. With your body, your feelings, your life. Dear Juice 1560, I think you just subconsciously feel unsafe and that is making you check out. He didn't say anything till you did, so I don't blame you. It wasn't just an innocent crush he was playing into it, as she was too to say she misses him. It was at bare minimum the beginning of an emotional affair. Thank you for stating this better than I could. As I've written in another comment, I can see myself marrying him, having a child with him, and then him looking for another woman while I'm still postpartum. It might be better to break up before marriage and children complicate things further. Should I just hope he doesn't do it again the next time things get difficult for him? If I hadn't confronted him, how far would he have gone? I love him, but I'm not sure this relationship is worth continuing anymore, as I don't trust him. I don't know how to move past this. I don't want to spend my life policing his every move and being paranoid each time he stays longer at work. I don't deserve that. Bullshit. Update 2. Yesterday afternoon, I gathered the courage to talk to him. I asked him not to interrupt me until I finished. I told him everything that's been on my mind since I found out about my distrust, disgust, and loss of respect for him. I remained calm and didn't hurl any insults. I told him that what he did was emotional cheating, and that I'm not convinced that that's where it stopped. That I appreciated the fact that he decided to read all of those self-improvement and relationship books, that I hope he'll learn from this experience and will improve as a person. But that it's not going to save our relationship. I'm done. He begged for another chance, asked to attend couples therapy. He promised to attend individual therapy as well. He told me he loved me, and that he knew he messed up and didn't deserve me, but that he would be willing to spend the rest of his life making it up to me. I told him his words weren't enough and would never be enough again. I started packing my stuff. He followed me around the apartment, crying and making promises. Before I left, he asked me if I'd be willing to reconsider us sometime in the future, if he proved himself. I told him that I don't see that happening. I told him that I wished him all the best, but that it's not going to be with me. I am staying with a friend now, while looking for an apartment. He sent me flowers to the office with an I love you card. I'd throw them away, but I don't want to draw attention at work. So far, I've received 3 emails from him, pouring his heart out, or whatever else, to myself. I haven't responded to them and don't plan to. I haven't blocked him, either. He crushed my self-confidence and made me doubt myself. He might as well feed my ego now. I am so angry, hurt, and depressed right now. I feel like I could burn down the whole world with my anger. I don't know how I'll ever trust someone again. My grandfather cheated on my grandmother. My father cheated on my mother. My uncles cheated on their wives. All of them had children outside of their marriages. My ex knew this and worked really hard to earn my trust, only to completely shatter it. I don't think I could survive going through something like this again. How to cope. How to get better.